We talked a little bit about this, the MIAA playoffs, continuing to undergo different changes, and depending who you talk to, some like it, some don't. Um, the number of upsets just by seeding, they're not really as high as a lot of people would expect. But we talked before, and you're a fan of the way that the playoffs are right now.
Yeah, so let's take a quick look at it. Here's what I like about the playoff format. None of them are perfect. And there's sort of two main criticisms about this, I think. It used to be that Thanksgiving Day was included in the playoff process to get to the Super Bowls at Gillette. So the critics' main criticism is, well, it's rendered Thanksgiving Day meaningless because the Super Bowls are all set before you get to Thanksgiving Day. Again, we just talked about that before. I think Thanksgiving has its own meaning unto its own. So is it a little less meaningful in a handful of games on Thanksgiving Day because a Super Bowl berth is not on the line? Probably. But again, every system has their problems. But here's the other thing that's a criticism. So you look at the games, I'm trying to find it, I have it right here, that are coming up this weekend. Here we go. And you're right, there's a lot of common names in here. Division I, Springfield Central, Central Catholic, St. John's Prep, right? But Shrewsbury is in there. Shrewsbury High School, they're a lower seed. They have a shot to play at Gillette. You go on and on. Catholic Memorial playing against Milford. Bishop Fian against King Philip. Hanover is playing against Weymouth. Hanover was a lower seed. So I could go down in these things, but those teams are going to get a chance to go to the Super Bowl. Now here's the other criticism. If Catholic Memorial wins, they play BC High on Thanksgiving Day. They host them this year. Is John DiBiaso going to sit his starters? A lot of the Super Bowl teams on Thanksgiving Day are. I could tell you from experience and getting to know Coach DiBiaso, he's not sitting his starters. They're going to play. He's going to go to his team and ask his seniors how they feel about it. But that is a legit criticism of this format because a lot of teams do sit their starters because you got to weigh the chance of having your star player get hurt when he's got a chance to play for a state championship to play against your rival, and that's their Super Bowl, right? So right. They're not perfect, but I think when you really look at this one, I think I like it. I like the format. It's only been the second year of it. I liked what it did last year. I think you get the most worthy opponents in the state championship Super Bowl games playing at Gillette Stadium, and you still get to play your Thanksgiving Day game. Look at the teams that lose. You look at Bridgewater Raynham, they're going to play their Thanksgiving game. Had things gone differently for them, they might have been playing at a chance for Gillette. So now their Super Bowl is Thanksgiving Day. So it is what it is. No system is perfect, but I think they've come really close, the MIAA, and they get a lot of criticism for a lot of reasons, but I think they've done a really good job with this one. I do anyway.
And then just to add on, for every Xaverian Catholic Memorial that we talk about, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a 13 seed Cardinal Spellman is in the Division 6 semis, which
I can't believe you just said that. I'm looking at Division 6 right now, and it's Cardinal Spellman against Stoneham. And they're all played at neutral sites. So these games Friday and Saturday, that game's at Weston High, and then you go down to, look at Hanover and Milton. Milton, I think that was our first, we do a game of the week every week. And our first game this year was Milton Situate, which I love because this is based on strength of schedule. And both Herb Devine and Steve Dembowski, the coaches for Situate and Milton, told me, look, we've played each other the last 3 years because the strength schedule matters. Win or lose this game, we're going to get points for taking on a tougher opponent at the end of the year. And, Situate is out now. But had they won their playoffs, they would have been in this partly because of their strength of schedule and been in the playoffs and been ranked because they played Milton. And Milton's undefeated. And I think they're one of the best teams I've seen this year. I'm going to be surprised if Hanover upsets them. But again, Hanover's got a shot. I mean, I could go on and on, but I like this format. I really do.
And a couple of the semifinals, I think, actually take place over at the high school here in Bridgewater.
Yeah.
Kind of a full circle moment of this conversation.
Well, here's, and I'll end it with this. Here's the sites for the games. Division I, Shrewsbury High and Cawley Stadium in Lowell. Division II, Marciano Stadium and Mansfield High. And by the way, these are neutral sites. So when I mention these schools, none of these schools are playing at home, right? They're not in these situations. Bridgewater Raynham, that's Duxbury and Holliston. By the way, Holliston, we covered both those teams this year, both very good quarterbacks. The kid, Matt Festa from Duxbury, might be special. But that game's at Bridgewater Raynham, 4:30, I believe, on Saturday. Bellingham High School, Weston High School, the Manning Bowl in Lynn, 2 games at Weston High School, 2 games at Cawley and Lowell, Burlington High, 2 games at Bridgewater Raynham. You got 2:00. Hull and Old Colony. Hull's undefeated this year. They're 10-1. Old Colony's 9-1. If you want to spend the day at Bridgewater Raynham this Saturday, you're going to see 2 really good teams in Division 8. And don't worry about the divisions. They're good football teams. And you're also going to see another great game at 4:30 after that. And then Shirley High School, Ayer Shirley is another game with Kip and Oxford there. So, the independent, here's one thing I want to end you with. So our game of the week this week is Wakefield and North Attleboro. Wakefield's undefeated. North Attleboro 7-2, but North Attleboro's beaten some of the best teams in the state. They beat Mansfield, who I thought was going to get there. They beat King Philip, who is there and 1 game away from the Super Bowl. The game was originally scheduled when it came out on Monday and this is another controversial thing. The MIAA is not giving any answers to this. It was originally scheduled for Marciano Stadium at 4:30 on Friday, but I think it was Wakefield. I didn't get this confirmed. They couldn't do it at 4:30. So they got it changed to 6:30 at Canton High School. Well, then Wakefield complained because Canton High School is in the Hockomock League, the league that North Attleboro is in. And they made a legitimate point. Well, wait a minute. North Attleboro's already played on this field. We haven't. So that's an unfair advantage. So they changed it to Milford High School, where as of right now, as far as I know, it's still scheduled for Milford High. But Wakefield complained again and said, well, wait a minute. Milford's in the Hockomock League too. And the North Attleboro people said, well, they didn't play at Milford this year. They hosted Milford. And they were like, well, they played on this field before. And then I'm like, well, wait a minute. A field is a field is a field. But then their biggest gripe, which is a legit one, was, well, Milford is 15 minutes from North Attleboro. We have to take an hour bus ride. I mean, if I'm a coach, if I'm the head coach of Wakefield, I'm saying, let everybody else complain about this. Just tell us where to go. We're going to kick their butts. I would use that as a rallying cry, for all the controversy. But again, there's another little thing like that. Oh, we're playing at a neutral site. Well, what defines a neutral site? To my knowledge, there were 2 things. Try to get as close to halfway between the 2 schools as you can, and try not to have any unfair advantage like the one they brought up about Mansfield playing at Canton High this year. And I think that's a fair one, if you're from Wakefield.
The poor camera crew having to follow all these different locations. I can only imagine the 25 van going up and down 128. But Butch, it was a great honor to talk to you. Thanks for spending some time with us. Don't forget to watch Butch Stearns Thanksgiving morning, 9:30 and at 10:30 at night. And if you can't watch him on TV, don't forget you can also watch on the Boston 25 app. Butch, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, John. Really enjoyed it. Thank you.